everybody. Good morning from a freezing Houston, Texas. It's like 50 degrees here. So we're, it's really below zero, Firstly, I want to remind everyone that tonight we have the great Rabbi Brody here at the Torch Center, and looking forward to seeing everyone there. It's going to be a phenomenal lecture that he gives, Life of Heaven on Earth. Really excited for it. He'll be here later today. At 7 p.m. the event begins here at the Torch Center. Then we also is that next week we are, it's very interesting. This week's Parsha talks about Vinatnu, and they will give, and people were giving donations to the temple, right? So the word Vinatnu is a palindrome. You read it Vav Nun Taf Nun Vav, and you can read it both ways, because our sages tell us that one of the things we learn from the Torah is that when you give, it comes back. It comes back as a boomerang. You give and it comes back. So I'm going to give everyone the opportunity. Next week, we have our only fundraiser of the year. It's next week. It's going to, you can go to givetorch.com next week, from Sunday through Wednesday. We do it one day. The main day is going to be Tuesday to Wednesday. But it's also election day, so we're doing Get Out the Vote for Torch. Right? Vote for Torch 2020. We need everyone's vote. Every vote counts, right? That's the theme that we're going with this year. But we're looking forward to having everyone's participation at any amount. This is the only time of the year that we ask for everyone to, what I love, and it's funny. It's not funny. It's very serious. We don't cancel any classes for this campaign, and we tell it's like we want to teach 365 days a year, not 364 days a year. Right? Even the Partners in Torah that we have on Wednesdays isn't canceled. The classes we have on Tuesdays isn't canceled. No class gets canceled because of the campaign, because Torah is the most important thing, and we happen to need finances to support the Torah. But it's not But there is this promise that the more we give, the more we get, more comes back. So looking forward to everyone's participation. If anyone is available to help us make phone calls, we need help. So we're looking forward to volunteers. Don't all raise your hand at one time, please. Right, but even if it's just an hour, a half hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, 10 hours, we're going to have food here throughout both days, and hopefully a ton of swag like this incredible jacket. That my wife was in New Jersey yesterday, and she meets someone in the supermarket, and the lady says, "1 second, torch jacket. My husband has that. He was on one of the trips with us, and he got one." So he says he wears it every day. He loves that jacket. So either way, that's that. I'm looking forward. Just a quick thought on the Parsha. It says, "V'asuli migdash v'shachanti b'tocham," and they shall make for me a migdash, a temple, a tabernacle, and I will reside within them, not within it. You'd think they should make a tabernacle for me, and I'll reside within it. No, I'll reside within them. So our sages says that more than what we need to build a physical tabernacle, we need to make ourselves into a tabernacle. We need to make ourselves into a place that's able to contain holiness. We need to make ourselves a vessel. God has no need to have His Shekhinah, His presence, in a physical edifice. But what God needs to have is His Shekhinah, His presence in us. We need to make ourselves a vessel that is able to contain God. That's what, if you think of every mitzvah that we have in the Torah, every single mitzvah is, it's very interesting because we have 248 positive, proactive commandments, and then we have 365 prohibitive commandments, right? We're not allowed to eat this, we shouldn't do that, etc., etc. Each one, our sages tell us, is corresponding to the limbs and the different elements of a human body. The 248 are parallel to the bones of the human body. The 365 are the muscles, the sinews, the tissues, etc. of the sins, right? That they correspond one to one. Why does it correspond one to one? Because how are you? It corresponds because each mitzvah purifies our body and makes us a vessel that is able to bring God into this world. Right? So, Vasuli Mishkan, although we're talking about building, having a menorah, and having the Aron, the Ark, and having all these, great. Most important is to have God within ourselves. And many people say, you know what, I'll give money to the synagogue, but leave me alone, right? Leave me, just the synagogue, right? No, God doesn't want the synagogue. He wants you. He wants you. And that's why it says over here, Vasuli Migdash, you will make for me a temple, and I'll reside within you. Right? V'shachanti b'tocham, I'll reside among the Jewish people. And that is, I think, a very, very important fundamental principle. Also, a very interesting thing is that the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, in order for him to be worthy of serving in the temple, he had to have peace. He had to have peace. He couldn't be in a quarrel with his neighbor and a friend, a feud with his sister-in-law and brother-in-law. I don't talk to them. He can't serve in the temple like that, because the house of Hashem, all of the service of God, needs to be with peace. If there isn't shalom, God's name is shalom. Shalom is hello. Shalom is goodbye. Shalom means peace, and shalom is God's name. Right? Why? Because it's when you say hello and goodbye, what you're doing in Hebrew is very different than in any other language. You see, you say hello. What is H-E-L-L-O? What does that mean? Nothing. It's a combination of letters that we decided should mean a salutation or a hello to someone. But shalom in Hebrew doesn't mean hello. It means a blessing. Peace should be upon you. Right? So the way we greet each other, we say hello and goodbye to one another, is with a blessing, not with a greeting. It's with a blessing that peace should be upon you. That same word is also the word for Yerushalayim, is Yerushalem. It should always be a place of peace. Right? It should be a place where you can always see peace in the world. Right? It's funny that it's the most disputed land in the world, right? But also the temple was also called a place of shalom, a place of peace, right? Because if God's presence can reside there, now very interesting, if you take the word shalom, the root of that word is shalem, which means whole or complete or perfect. What happens when you have peace among people? It's complete, it's perfection. Right? That's the way it should be, right? It gets to a proper state. So what a Kohen Gadol needed to have in order to serve in the temple is a constant state of peace. If he was in a quarrel, he can't serve. If he was unhappy, he couldn't serve. If he was not married, if he was out of a relationship, he could not serve. You have to be in a constant state of peace, right? And that's the key to our connection to God. It's that God's presence doesn't reside in a place of fighting. God's presence only resides in a place of peace. Hashem should bless us all, that we should always be in a state of peace and harmony in all of our relationships, in our lives, with ourselves. We should always have peace with ourselves as well. And God should always bring us to situations of completeness and being in a wholesome environment at all times. With that, my friends, thank you so much for joining us online, and we're going to continue with our regular Chumash program. Thank you.